Now that we've created our card component, our card list component, and our search box component, we're pretty much done with most of the functionality in this application. The only thing we're missing is a little bit of styling. So the first thing we need is to add this title. And I'm just going to add it as an H1 here at the top of our app.js, Monsters Rolodex. And then we need that font, because you'll see that we don't have this font. Now, this font we can get from Google Fonts, fonts.google.com. And we can see all these different fonts that Google allows us to use in our project. So I'm just going to find the one we want called Bigelow Rules. I'm going to hit this little plus. And Google gives us a link that we can add to our index.html inside of our head. We just add it at the bottom here. And now we have access to Bigelow Rules in our project. Now, if we go to app.css, I'm going to add a new rule for H1. And I'm going to say font family is Bigelow Rules. I'm also going to set the font size to 72 pixels. And the color, and now if we look, we'll see that our project has the same font now, which is really awesome because Google has this great font service for us. So now what we need is the background. The background we're going to put into our index.css. And this is a file that gets generated by Create React App. The reason why they've already added this styling to the body and the code is because Create React App wants the exact same base styling across all browsers. So different browsers might run different things, like a different font or a different margin or padding. So Create React App is just trying to equalize that when the project starts. But inside of this body, we're just going to add this linear gradient to our background. And you can make any gradient you want. I just made this one. And we'll see. Our project is finished. Just like that, we've built a project that has filtering, and we understand now how components are created. Now that we finished building our website, it's actually not live yet, but we can actually host this really easily using GitHub Pages. So Create React App has made it really easy to use the GitHub Pages service. And GitHub lets us host static websites for free, which is really awesome. And it's actually really easy. There's just a couple steps we got to take. The first one we got to do is we have to go to GitHub. And then we have to make a new repository. Now I'm going to name my repository Monsters Rolodex after our project. And then I'm going to copy this key, this SSH key right here. I'm going to go to our terminal. And then I'm going to do two things. First, I'm going to connect our actual project to that repository we just made by doing git remote add origin, and then that key we copied. Next, I'm going to actually include the GH pages package by doing yarn add GH pages. Next, I'm going to go to our package.json file, and I'm going to do two things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add homepage. I'm going to actually type in https Zhang M. Yihua, which is the name of my GitHub username. So you're going to use your GitHub username here. And you're going to do github.io / and then the name of the project that we made on GitHub, the name of that repository. For me, it's Monsters Rolodex, the one we just created. Then I'm going to add two scripts. The first one is called pre-deploy. And in this pre-deploy, I'm just going to call build. Because as we remember, our build script builds all of our React code into the final code that our browser needs. And then I'm going to call deploy. And this one, I'm going to say ghpages-d build. Now, this is going to run pre-deploy before it runs deploy, which is really awesome because npm and yarn both know to run any script that you have pre with before you run the actual script. So it's going to run pre-deploy before it runs deploy, and then it's going to serve up that to our GitHub project. Now we're going to go back to our terminal, and then we're going to run our new deploy script. And now we actually see it runs our pre-deploy script first, and then we're going to see that it actually runs our deploy script right after. Now this is going to build all of our project files that we need for the final project, and then we're going to add, and then we're going to write a commit message, adding files for GitHub pages. And now we're going to push this up. So once this is all pushed up now to our final project repository, we're going to go back to our GitHub and we're going to refresh, right? And now we should see all our files in here. And if we now go to the settings, and when we scroll down, we want to make sure that the source is actually pointing to GitHub Pages branch. If yours is pointing to master, just make sure to set it to GitHub Pages branch. And now if we go to our link, we see our website is live. It's actually served at this URL. And that's awesome because GitHub lets us serve these static websites for free very easily and very quickly. And you can see how if you wanted to build a quick static website using React, it's really easy to build it and then serve it using Create React App and GitHub Pages. Now, when we actually build our final application, which is a very more dynamic e-commerce website, we're going to actually use databases and we're going to leverage a lot more code that GitHub won't be enough for us to serve. And I'm going to show you how we're going to take all of these things that we learned building this application and then expand upon them in that lesson. So I hope you enjoyed this and look forward to building your first big React project.